Hey, everybody, welcome to the nation. I'm Jeff Tracy, along with Barbecue Hall of Fame member and my radio wife and partner, Leanne Whippen, coming to you from our respective Turn It, Don't Burn It studios in Portland and Tampa and anywhere else there's great barbecue. We got a great guest today, Eric G. from around the house. But first, we wanted to say thank you to the folks at Painted Hills Natural Beef, beef the way nature intended. So our good buddy, Eric G, comes on the show a couple times a year. He's got a wonderful show. If you've not heard it, you should have, called Around the House. It's a DIY show. It's the best show in the nation as far as I'm concerned on that. Except I can't get him to come down and fix this light switch at my house. Anyway, he just got back from Vegas and the hardware show. And so we're going to be talking about all the cool barbecue stuff and outdoor stuff that Eric saw in Vegas. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me on today. Always a good time. And you never agreed to my hourly rate there, JT. So that's why the trip fee is kind of big to your house.
Yeah, I know. But you know, it's hard to get me to commit to things, but when I do, I do. So I just leave it at that.
And you know that is in pounds, and it's not British. It's in beef that we talk.
Yeah, it's in dead moo cow.
Absolutely.
Dead moo cow. What was happening in Vegas besides you? Did you get another tattoo while you were down there?
No, I just got duct tape. That was it.
He got duct taped to a local news lady who was, I've never seen Eric duct taped to anybody that was not attractive in the first place, but this one was exceptional. And he was carrying her around by her wrist because they were literally like in the old what do I want to say, pre-Revolutionary War days where they used to tie a string around them, you know, your wrists and stuff. Anyway, what did you see besides all the fun stuff like that, the goofy stuff, and the barbecues?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff down there. And, you know, there was a huge area outside. There was some inside stuff. I noticed a couple things. One, outdoor living, again, was massive. There were everything from handmade $6,000 kind of lifestyle barbecue things to your finest made in China, you know, $200 grills there. So there was a big, huge trend of all that. But there was probably a dozen companies with their own outdoor pizza oven and various versions of that. And some of them were pretty cool. Some of them were kind of standard, but there was a lot of cool stuff out there that I was like, oh, even those guys are making a outdoor pizza oven now.
You know, pizza ovens, and we did some on Grilling at the Green last year when Leanne was up. We were filming that stuff, and we didn't have an actual pizza oven, but we've done it. I've done it on TV a few times with the smokers and stuff. But pizza ovens have really gained, if you will, in popularity for outdoor kitchens over the last few years because they're simple, they're quick. You can do more than cook pizza in it. And I think it also gives people a bit of a comfort zone, maybe not the live fire one, but the gas ones and stuff, because they can control the temperature a little better. It's a smaller unit. They're used to maybe baking in an oven indoors. And now you've got this smaller contraption, if you will, out there, and they can utilize it.
Yeah, it's you know, I've got a wood-fired outdoor pizza oven, you know, the old school, like they've made in Italy since the beginning of time, or New York, or wherever else you want to say, and it works great. But yeah, it's a 2-hour plus warm-up time. So the propane natural gas ones are big there. And then the latest ones have a rotisserie where it's actually turning the pizza in them. So I saw about 6 or 7 different brands there that the center turns, and so you're not getting the hot and cold spots on the pizza. So pretty cool how that works.
What do you think as far as their popularity, Leanne? I mean, you're actually more in the heart of barbecue and outdoor cooking country than Eric and I are.
So I have an uni, so it's gas and wood. So you can do a combination, which is a really nice feature. And it doesn't have the spinner on it. And I found that, you know, when you're opening it, you do have to spin the pizza because it gets very hot in the back. So that's a very nice added feature. But it comes with it came with a cast iron piece that you can do, you know, fajitas on. So it is multifunctional. And with the outdoor kitchens, it's like people were doing, their smokers a grill is one, and then then the flat top is another, and it's like people they just want to get bigger and better, and it adds nice aesthetics. I always have a tough time with that word.
Aesthetics?
To the that's it.
Okay.
To the kitchen, nice shape form. It comes in colors, so I think it's a great piece to add.
Yeah, I do too. And they're not that expensive comparatively
Some
to
some of them are expensive, with all the bells and whistles, but
yeah,
you can get some for, not too bad.
a few
Yeah,
$100.
there's people I saw there that I didn't think would have them, like Solo Stove that you see out there, Cuisinart, Outdoor Living.
Mhm.
I mean, it was very mainstream with some of the typical brands you see out there on all the ads and TV.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh, I like that. No, I'm looking forward to gaining my own personal one here that we can also use on the shows. Uh I think, the other thing I like about them too, this is just me, I'm being serious for 1 second here, is they're smaller. Outdoor kitchens, you can get gargantuan, as you know, and they cost a lot of money. They're worth it, obviously, I think, if you're going to do that. The folks at Grill Grills, they supplied us with stuff for the TV show, and it's great, and they're nice, and it's all stainless and all that. But to have something that's multifunctional like that and not have to take up more than a section of a countertop, if you will, I think is a big
Mhm.
plus.
Yeah, I mean, my
Mhm.
outdoor pizza oven takes up a 5x5 area, just the
Yeah.
oven.
Yeah. And then you gotta have stack the wood and do all that stuff too. So you've got to have that. But
One of my other favorite things that I saw there was something I'd never seen before. It was called by a company called Gather. And
okay.
so it was a round, kind of a community grill, kind of almost like kind of like you're going into Benihana and there's a cook at the end and everybody's sitting around it. It had this very round kettle that was probably 36 inches around, maybe 42, depending on the size. And it had half flat top, half grill, and it had charcoal underneath it where it was just a natural charcoal. And that center spin, so you could rotate the grill on a hot cold and the flat top on the hot cold area. And then it had pop-up countertop around the outside of the circle. So you could be sitting there and you could put 6 people around the outside of it and be cooking in the middle, kind of like here at Benihana's or something. But it
Yeah,
was
that's cool.
super cool. And man, they were cranking eggs and breakfast sandwiches in the morning. That's where you went by to get food because they had it just cranking along. But really cool from Gather. And the sides would pop up and down, so it kind of compact down pretty well.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
It
Yeah.
was super cool.
I've cooked on an Evo before,
Mhm.
which is but it's just a flat top, if you will, all the way around. It's domed a little bit in the center, so everything runs into the catch trough around the outside of it. And those are, it's community oriented, community grilling, if you will, out there. And you can cook your shrimp and your noodles over here. You can cook a hamburger hash over here at the same time. They're big enough to do that. But I like that idea that from Gather even better. So you could get in there and do multiple things and share the warmth, as you might say.
Yeah, he had his breakfast sausages sitting there on the fire, and then he had the eggs going and bacon on the flat top, and he was just cranking along. So that was a cool product. That one grabbed my attention. I was like, all right, that's cool. I need to build a spot for that.
So
Yeah, you do.
how much did you get on your shirt?
You see, that's the one nice things about wearing automotive style shirts. They're meant for things to come off. Little dirt gets on here, little grease comes right off. That's one of my secret tips. If you wear the automotive style shirts, they're meant to get dirty and the grease doesn't stick.
It doesn't look, it does, you can't get away with that with golf shirts.
Ah,
It just doesn't work very well on that.
yeah.
So, first of all, tell people how big this show is. We got about a minute and a half before we go to break, but how big is the hardware show? I mean, people hear about it. It's kind of like the electronics show, the SHOT Show, all these big shows, but most people can't get to them or don't have the time to even try. But what all do you see at a show like that?
Yeah, so they take up at the Las Vegas Convention Center, which I think is either number 1 or number 2. I think it's number 1 right now for the largest convention center in the US. It's between that and Orlando. They're always adding on and going back and forth. It's kind of like the world's tallest building competition. There's always somebody trying to do better, but they take up what's the new hall, which is the West Hall. So it's probably that West Hall with everything that they're doing over there is probably 750,000 square feet just in that hall inside. And so you think about that, that's probably 6 Home Depot stores if you were to try to put that into that. And that's all little booths. And then outside they have another space that's probably another 7 to 10 acre spot there that's all outside booths. So it's like a massive trade show just in hardware. It's not one of the biggest ones, but it's definitely one of the biggest ones for hardware by itself without getting all the other building stuff. So basically the National Hardware Show is a cool show that is everything you'd see in your neighborhood hardware store.
I like that. And some stuff you might not see.
Yeah, these are all guys trying to sit there and get their products into the Ace, True Values, all those different guys out there, or the neighborhood store. So all these guys are trying to get picked up by those guys. So you've got all those different people there.
Wow. I might have to go with you next year.
Heck yeah. It's a good
But
time.
I'm not getting a tattoo.
Ah,
Leanne can get a tattoo. I don't.
No, thanks.
Oh, come
I
on.
got an idea. I think we can get you. I think we should get you one, JT. I got an idea for you.
Yeah. My wife and daughter have tattoos. I'm kind of a wuss though. I don't want the needle. You know what I mean?
Ah,
Anyway. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back with Eric G from Around the House and Miss Whippin and myself here on BBQ Nation. We thank you for letting us share this time with you, and we're going to share a little more when we come right back. Welcome back to BBQ Nation. I'm JT along with Leanne Whippin. Very simple. We can go to our website and go to bbqnationjt.com. Send us a message there. You can also listen to the older shows there. We're on all the different social media platforms. We have a number of Facebook pages and stuff. So we're not hard to find. But send us a note or make a comment on some of our social media postings. We appreciate that. And today we're talking with my good friend and Leanne's good friend, Eric Goranson, known as Eric G from Around the House. It's a DIY show that's out there in the cyberverse like that. Eric's and he also has his own Around the House Northwest show here on Fox in the Portland market. Does very good with that TV show too. So we're talking about Eric's trip to Vegas. Only part of his trip to Vegas are we allowed to talk about, but where he went to the hardware show. What about the outdoor living stuff, the grills and the barbecues and the smokers and all that? I'm sure most of the name brands were there, but what else did you see that you could share with people?
there was another one that was really cool that really got my ideas going, and it was an outdoor kitchen portable unit, but it was a kitchen sink and it had a kind of its own little gray water tank thing built into it and a hose extension. It's called Backyard Banger, and it looks kind of like the wet bar you'd see a hotel pull up, for a conference room. And so the ends would pop up, and it has a sink, a power outlet that pops out of the countertop. But what's cool is it hooks right into the water coming out of your house. It had a little on-demand water heater in there and the whole thing. So it could either drain out or it would drain into a bucket, and had a little alarm when it went off. So you could literally have an outdoor working kitchen without having to put all the plumbing in, just with a hose. So you just hooked it onto the garden hose, and it has its own stainless steel hose that's rated for food. And then you could plug it into the wall, and you had this whole outdoor power station going as well. Super trick. And then it folded up into its own little case. So it came down to be only like 4 foot by 2 foot. So it was pretty trick.
When it was fully extended and put together, how big was it?
Man, it was
Roughly.
almost 8 feet. It really folded and extended out. So it was probably at least 7 feet on width, but when it folded down, it was down to about 4 by 2.
Was it kind of a bar thing where you could have people sitting on the other side on stools talking to you while you were working?
Yeah, you could, but the top was only probably, because of the compact space, was probably only about 8 inches on that side. So it wasn't like a big bar top, but it was definitely enough to put drinks up on if somebody was sitting over there with a stool and stuff, but it was really cool for something portable. And for those people maybe living in a condo or something that just wanted to roll it out there on their little patio and have a little party without having to build something in and follow all the rules.
Did you give it a test drive with setting the drinks on it?
I test drive everything before I talk about it. It is my gift to everyone.
It's all good. You said that there was a part um that had a lot of outdoor furniture and stuff. And as we were talking in the first segment, I think people who are building outdoor kitchens, on patios or pavers or whatever they have, they're also trying to, uh, make it look really nice and have it so that it's kind of inviting for people to come out, sit down, hang out, share a drink or whatever while they're waiting for the food. And I will tell you that over the years, they haven't gotten overly creative with outdoor furniture and accoutrements to kitchens, but you were telling me that that's changed a bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going out there right now as far as outdoor furniture. East Oak was my favorite company there. Those guys really had some cool stuff as far as, they've come so far with the textures and stuff out there where things don't get stained. It's all made out of like recycled pop bottles and stuff like that, where it's, you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about the sun fading. You don't have to worry about all those things. So there was a lot of different companies there with just really comfortable furniture that you could throw out in a non-covered area and be comfortable with it and let it take the weather a little bit without it just,
Huh.
coming apart and getting hashed. So there's so many great fabrics now that feel good, but the sun's not going to fade them.
Can you just like hose them off or take your low PSI pressure washer and just kind of clean them up and towel them off and be good to go?
I'd probably get the hose out. I think the fabrics are so soft these days. It's not like the old stuff that you could do that. The stuff's so soft you might hurt it with the low PSI.
Yeah.
But I think since it's non-stainable, that it's just going to basically wash right off the top.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that's
Cool.
really cool. And then there was a ton of different things too in that same space as far as, different little countertop torches and things like that, as well as a lot of the bigger patio umbrellas where they had the LED lights built into the ribs that hold up the fabric. And so it's
Mhm.
all built into that. So you just plug the bottom of it in, crank it out. Everything's built in and nice and tight. So you're not worrying about all the little lights and cords and stuff that you get when you buy those $20 light kits that you put underneath your patio
Mhm.
umbrella. These are built in and solid. So that was definitely a nice big trend.
I mean, not the
Mhm.
ones like at my house where you hang a shop light on it with the little
Mhm.
cage and the 60-watt bulb and then the old yellow extension cords that's got, 15 reels of electrical tape to
Yeah.
patch up
Yeah.
the bare wires.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's good for the mosquitoes though, because that does work pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
So there was a lot of great stuff like that that I was impressed with. That was like, okay, there was a lot of that cool stuff there. And then, yeah, I mean, there was even a guy there that had a barbecue, a size of a carry-on luggage. So if you think about your carry-on luggage, you could actually take on the plane, not the ones that people try to sneak in that are bigger. But if you think about that, they had a barbecue that you folded out of a basically like a piece of luggage. It's split down the middle. You could lay it on a wood top because it was insulated how they built it.
mhm.
And guy was sitting there grilling tomahawk steaks on it. He had on one side, he had a big pan with butter and had a full size tomahawk on it, was cranking away on that thing. So
Wow.
Hmm.
just so many cool little products like that. And then of course you had all the barbecue cleaners and the tools and a lot of those people that are trying to get, 4 feet of a grilling aisle in a hardware store. So there's a lot of that stuff as well.
Incredible. Incredible. Did they have any rubs and spices there?
Yeah, there was definitely some of that. There was definitely, people had, they were kind of like an 8x8 booth. So people had a mixture of stuff. So there were rubs and spices as well as the tools in there or cleaning stuff. A lot of new products out there that are great for cleaning barbecues and that kind of stuff as well.
That's interesting. They always seem to come up, but it's always kind of a question too about um if they're attached to a bigger company and they fall right into their product line, they usually are fairly successful to a degree. It's the smaller independent guys that might have the best idea in the world, but they don't have the backing. Sometimes they have a tough time making it. We're going to take another break. We're going to be back with Eric Goranson, Eric G from around the house, and Ms. Whippen and myself here on Barbecue Nation in just a couple minutes. Got to do the business part. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Barbecue Nation. I'm JT along with Leanne and Eric G, by the way. And we'd like to thank the folks at Painted Hills Natural Beef, beef the way nature intended. You can go to their website at paintedhillsbeef.com. You see their story and some wonderful pictures and some film clips and stuff about how they take care of the cattle. And, they are really kind of conscious of all that. But then you can also order products from there. So, and if you type in, when you check out BBQ Nation, you get 15% off. So do that at paintedhillsbeef.com. And also, here we go, Leanne. This is your deal. Pig powder, best rub on the planet.
Woohoo!
Yep. Tell us all
All-purpose rub. My dad developed it many years ago, and it wins championships all the time. I just had a team. I don't know if they want to be mentioned or not, but they just got a perfect 180 in pork with pig powder, and he gave me a mention on his social media. So it's not just for pork, but for chicken and a lot of different other things.
Yes, it is. It's not good on Cheerios. I will tell you that.
Oh, yes, it is. Come on, I've tried it.
Good on scrambled eggs.
It's good on scrambled eggs. I made, what did I make the other day? Oh, a couple weeks ago, we were doing a local TV shoot here, and I was doing some crab stuff, and I had some crab left over. So that night I made us crab omelets for dinner, and I used some of the pig powder on that lightly in
That
the
would be
eggs.
good.
It was very, very good. So go to pigpowder.com, and Leanne will make sure that you get your pig powder. And so order it today. We're talking with Eric G from around the house here, and just got back from the hardware show in Vegas. I always like it when Eric calls me from the hardware show, because you can hear all the noise in the background. And goes, dude, it's really cool. That's cool. It's, and then somebody scampers away with him to some other part of the building, and he never gets to finish the story. So that's why he's here today. What was like your favorite of all the barbecue stuff you saw? Flat tops, smokers, pizza ovens, doesn't matter. What was it?
Ooh, boy, there was a lot of great stuff. I'm trying to think what my favorite was. Probably, that Gather was one of my favorites. That was one of the top ones because it was just so well engineered, and I mean, to have a barbecue grill top that rotates over heat and works smoothly when it's hot, right? Because there's bearings and all that stuff in there, and it worked really well. That was good. And boy, I think that's one of them right there. There was a piece of lawn furniture that I went, oh, that's cool. And that's unusual in the outside space. That was your typical, Chase lounge that folds up, you take to the beach. This was one that's cool, but they cut out the head of it where you would put your head and made a pad there. So you could actually lay down like it was a massage or a chiropractor table and read. And it had a face thing there that you could either put your head on, your face on. So you could literally be sitting there reading, laying on your stomach, laying down flat, and not, keep your head straight. So I thought that was really cool too. And I'm like, wow, I got a cocktail laying on my stomach sun tanning.
Yeah, you just have a little pink spot there with a circle on it if you fell asleep,
Yeah, well, you're face down, so you could actually, it's high enough up that you could actually read or have a cocktail underneath there while you're laying on your face, because they cut out that opening for your face like you were on a massage table or a chiropractor table. So they cut it out, and then when you sat backwards, that was just where you laid your head on it anyway. So there was a kind of a square pad around that opening. So I was like, oh, that's pretty trick. That seemed pretty hot.
Does it come with a magnifying glass for guys with big stomachs like mine? Because they'll put some distance between you and the printed page.
No, they cut out a hole for that too.
I need a bigger drink, so I was wondering that same thing. So.
Yeah. No, that's good. How far has this come? Let's talk a little bit about everything now, the tools and everything at a show like this. you know, we've known each other for a while now, and every year when you go to one of these events, you come back and you kind of give me the report, and it sounds like great stuff, and it is great stuff. But just say in the last 10 years, how big are the advancements, especially on the outdoor furniture, the grills, the things that people can readily get their hands on to make their life a little nicer outside?
You know, with online shopping and stuff like that, it has made it a lot easier for that brilliant inventor to get their stuff to market. You know, from before we got into some of these online retailer stuff that we really see now, basically there was one path and that was retail.
Right.
And or you're going into little shows or little live events and now you've got people out there that can literally invent something and 6 months later it's showing up, you know, your house next day when you order it on Amazon. So I think it's really cool to see all these new products that are coming out. I mean, I've had so much stuff come across even my desk before the show. Like I found the absolute coolest cleaning wipes for cleaning up your barbecue that works awesome. And they're so easy and inexpensive where you didn't see that kind of stuff. You wouldn't see that specialty kind of stuff. You'd see,
Right.
hey, you've got your hand cleaning wipes for the shop and use it anywhere. And now
Mhm.
you've got it where, you know, there's probably 6 or 8 companies out there doing it for just barbecue. So it seems like there's so many more new products out there and people are really dialing into that kind of niche bit with products that I think is pretty cool.
So,
Mhm.
which ones garner the most interest? The ones that are, I'll just put it this way, the way I would normally say it, the cheaper ones that you would see at a big box store, or the better quality, higher end, mid to level, or higher grills, cookers, whatever they're looking at. Which ones you could tell you were there when you
Yeah.
went to a booth? Uh, was the 199 grill getting a lot of attention as a loss leader for somebody, or was it more of the $800 whatever it might be?
You know, I think innovation was the key. So a lot of people weren't walking by going, "Oh, that's a 199 grill." And quite frankly, the 199, 299, 399 grill people, except for the big guys, were pretty much ghost towns compared to the ones that had the innovation, the you know, the gathers, the pizza oven guys that were sitting there cooking the pizzas and handing them out. You know, there was a lot of food getting passed out. The briefcase style, you know, barbecue, the stuff that was innovative. And sometimes it was a $5,000 grill that was getting more attention than the 199 grill.
Right.
But it was
Mhm.
so cool that people went, okay, that's neat. The other thing that I did see, if I was going to say a trend there, is that, you know, if you look back here 6, 7, 8 years ago, like the Hestons and those guys out there that had all the lighted, you know, dials and knobs and everything's lit up now. Now you're seeing that in the 299, 399 categories now, where you're starting to see that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
that those definitely seeing those what were 5 to 10 years ago high-end features pushing down at a lower price level to get
Mhm.
those to kind of try to emulate that. I mean, you still grab it and the quality's not there, but it's got a red LED light around the ring of the knob, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you're seeing more of that.
Well, you know, that's actually important because I think because a lot of people go out and you know, if they're going to cook dinner and it gets dark and whatever, and a lot of people's backyards and patios are not wired for big time lights. You
Mhm.
know, you just don't see it a lot. Especially people that buy used homes, and I say that tongue in cheek there, but a lot of the older homes, you would have to do a lot of construction. This is your bailiwick there, Eric,
Yep.
to rewire stuff to get it out there. And so
Oh
when
yeah.
these grills and cookers come with the lights on them, I mean, they're not like a Klieg light on the theater stage, but they help so you can see what you're doing. Leanne, what do you think?
I agree. It's funny. I go back to what you were talking about outdoor cooking because I was cooking grouper and it got dark out there and I couldn't see. And there were those little lights that were strung up and it wasn't cutting I don't know. Is there a lot more outdoor lighting stuff coming? I mean, you talked about the little lights under the umbrellas, but I mean, significant light, like so you can really see. Do you see any trends or new things coming out for that?
You know, a lot of that stuff traditionally right now I'm seeing is more built into the outdoor building part of itself. You know, there
I
are
see.
definitely some outdoor lights out there. You're seeing a lot of new smart string lights that are coming out now that you can put around that barbecue area. I saw one that I just got an email about today that's coming out that you can control the color temperature of the light. You can control how much, you know, all what's going on. You can make them purple, green, red, or if you want it to be yellow.
Play to
white.
music.
Yeah, basically they'll do whatever you want it to do. You know, you're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff, you know.
Mhm.
And so that's cool. You're starting to see that. Do you want them to move to the music? Like you were saying, they'll actually, you know, if you start getting the bass going out there, you can hit a button, it'll go to that. So you're seeing a lot of different lights, but they're more of the, you know, what I'd call the $50 to $100 string light sets versus its own standalone. You know, there's also a ton of heaters out there that you're seeing now too that are
Mm.
small, medium, and large for patio heaters, whether it's a little tiny, you know, almost like the little solo stoves that you see out there, but a small version that you could put on the countertop of your outdoor kitchen or next to your barbecue or something like
How
that.
about air conditioners?
A ton of misters now. There was a
Yeah.
ton of misters out there. There was a guy that had misters there where they had them on the fronts of fans that you could mount out that were cool that you just plugged in. I mean, they had misting water bottles. You squeeze the thing on it, and it sprays up water out of your water bottle to you.
Hmm.
I asked him what happens if you put vodka in there, and he laughed. So,
Hmm.
you know,
Well, that's not funny. That's serious.
yeah.
Multifunctional.
Yeah, as long as you're not doing next to the barbecue, right? That's the
Yeah.
thing. I was like, that could be dangerous if you're misting next to.
And Eric, by the way, I think that's grouper right behind Leanne's head there.
It is. That's
That's
black and a
making me hungry.
grouper.
Yeah. It just really looks good. When I first saw it, I thought it was a peach for some reason. I don't know why. I think weird. But I did that. We're going to come back in a couple of minutes and finish this show with Eric G. He's going to stick around. We're going to make a reasonably short after hours this week because Leanne's got to go try on some new golf shoes for the other show here. But we're going to take
Show
a
is
break.
that?
Well, it's grilling at the green, AT, like
Not
there's
grilling
around the house
on the green,
Oh,
grilling
okay.
at the
at
green.
the green. Yeah.
Wondering how you're repairing the greens. That was my.
No, I got a little divot tool in my pocket. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay with us.
Hi, Dave.
Well, welcome back to what the hell are we talking about here? Welcome back to Barbecue Nation. I'm JT along with Leanne Whippet, Hall of Famer, I might add. If you didn't know that, she has a long and sacred history in the world of barbecue. Plus, she beat Bobby Flay a couple times. So, if you ever read
Yeah.
Leanne's resume, what my resume, it's a quite distinctive resume.
Rabbit season. Rabbit season.
Wabbit
Mhm.
season, yeah,
Wabbit,
she's done
yeah.
a lot. And then we've got Eric G with us from Around the House. You can go to aroundthehouse.com.
Roundthehouseonline.com.
Okay, you can do that. Eric's always posting tips and tricks, and his shows are full of great ideas, kind of start to finish. And it doesn't, of course, the way they cut the shows and put them together, but he does take you step by step and gives you the good background. Like, if you're going to rip up
And how not to make mistakes.
how
that a lot
not
of
to
people
make
do.
mistakes like that.
Mhm.
And besides that, we cause a lot of trouble. Eric and I are known as the part of the Portland radio mafia. So
We are
I'll
the
just
leaders.
the leaders,
Mhm.
El Consigliore. Anyway,
Exactly.
yeah. Eric just got back from the hardware show in Vegas, the National Hardware Show, and a lot of fun stuff there. You're how was it just business wise? There's a lot of stuff going on in the economy, and I don't want to get too far off in the weeds on this stuff, but
Yeah.
you know, usually when those big trade shows like that, people are pretty fired up. They have to want to come there. It's not something they just stumble onto. And so they're looking at things and they're serious business people and they're doing that. And of course the manufacturers they're serious and all that, but there's always seems to be an air in those shows, and all three of us have seen it. And was it good? Was it positive? Was it moving forward, or was it a bit of hesitation?
You know, I think first off, I think we doubled the liquor sales of Las Vegas that week. So that was
That's a good
positive for
thing.
the local economy. But business wise there, I think it was really solid. You know, it's interesting and there's different facets to all this, right? When you're sitting there looking at it, like there was an inventors area, which I thought was really cool. They had somebody coming in from Shark Tank. They were kind of doing a Shark Tank thing there. But the bad part of the inventors area is there were some really, really cool products in there that I fell in love with. But the bad part of it too is these guys are all trying to get their first sale. So it was like
Mm.
walking in, being the only person walking into a multi-level marketing
Yeah.
convention and you were the only person in the room. I felt like you know, you had to have an excuse to get out of the room within a couple minutes when you were in there, because otherwise you had 30 people trying to take 20 minutes of your time. So that was really aggressive, but once you got in there, there were some killer products. But overall, I think business was good. It was not a super, super busy show, but it was busy enough for people to have solid business conversations in that. And there was definitely business being made. And I think a lot of that comes down to one, the economy, and two, not a lot of people are selling their homes right now. So they're really going, okay, what can I do to make this mine? Because I really don't want to have a 7.5% interest rate on the house that I'm buying,
Right. Right.
since I've got 3 on the one I got. I can't afford to buy another one right now. So I think there's still a push of people creating their own space, like an extension of what it was during, you know, COVID. I think there's still just an
Mhm.
extension of that going on. And it's tough unless you're moving out of area. I don't see a lot of people doing the house upgrade just on interest rates alone.
No, no. One thing I wanted to ask you about too in the backyard stuff. Did you see any people there with like pergola? You know,
Yeah.
that's some in our neck of the woods. That's important, and also like in Leanne's because they've
Mhm.
got humidity and bugs and
Mhm.
different things. And we
Sun.
in sun, you
Mhm.
got a lot of that. You've got more than your share of sun down there in the Sunshine State.
Yeah,
But
there was a lot of those there. There was probably 7 or 8 big booths of stuff that looked really good. Some of them had some cool kind of shutters that would open up in the top and then you could turn them so they came down and they would seal. So you had a completely you could kind of control them almost, you know, that way. That was cool. There was a lot of cool new sheds and buildings that were kind of like outbuildings that were pre-made kits that looked really good. There was a Japanese company there that you could literally do a whole complete outdoor living space that was detached, like a very large shed, but was gorgeous. Had this kind of more modern look to it that would look great in anybody's backyard. So there's a lot of stuff like that in the metal and composite building space for pergolas, you know, pool house buildings, whatever. There was a lot there,
right.
Mhm.
pre-made stuff that was cool.
What's your thoughts on pergolas? As far as regarding outdoor kitchens. I'm kind of in favor of them. I know, if you and I lived in a different climate in Arizona, you would have them for a different reason, which is the sun damage to things and too hot, like where Leanne lives. Up here, it's more to keep the moisture off of you, the snow and the bats or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get your take on that.
I think they're great. I think, you know, similar to down in Florida and similar in the Pacific Northwest, they got to be built pretty solid to take the winds when those windstorms come up or hurricanes or anything else. The last thing you need is that rolling across, landing up inside your house or your
Mhm.
neighbor's house. So I think you got to build them great. I think there's a lot of great metal and wood kits out there that are really cool. There's some of these ones now that are really nice that where you take your own lumber, so you don't have to pay for this thing to be shipped. So they'll take like 6x6 lumber, but they came up with these cool metal corners and brackets. So you can go to your lumberyard, buy the wood, but you use these big brackets that they send you, which basically the posts slide into.
Hmm.
And you're not paying, you know, thousands of dollars to ship something to your house where, you know, you've got hundreds of UPS fees. And so you can buy the wood locally and do that. And then you can use whatever wood you want. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
different things like that. as well as a lot of new clear panels and stuff that you're starting to see out there that can be really cool across the top. That doesn't look like a 1977 green patio, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I saw some recently, and I know they've been around for a while, but they had the remote control where they have the fine mesh sides for bugs, and it also blocks the sun a little bit like that. That you can seal them up like that or open them up depending on the weather.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
a lot of cool stuff out there now. You've got those screen door kits that where the screens will roll up like a roller blind. They'll go down into a track and you can screen off the whole pergola. You could add that to your outdoor kitchen. You could add to that. There's also ones that company here locally to us, Cascade Coil makes that are like your coil fireplace screen that coiled metal,
right.
but they make them out of different colors of anodized aluminum and things like that. And you could put that around the area there, which keeps a lot of the bugs and driving rain out of there as well. So you could actually use that coil like a shower, like almost like a shower curtain. The water will just run right off of it, so 90% of the water doesn't come through. So there's a lot of things like that work pretty good, and it'll also cut down the wind, but still give you some airflow, not like you are inside of a tent.
Yeah, I'm all for them. Not that I don't like the sun, I do like the sun, but as far as when you spend a lot of money in Florida or in the Northwest where we're at, and you spend a lot of money on an outdoor kitchen, it seems to me rather foolish just to let it sit out and either bake or freeze. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's
There's a
one of the biggest
purpose.
mistakes I see people when they're doing their DIY outdoor kitchens is they're using the quartz countertops that you use inside your house, and none of that stuff is UV rated. So they put in the beautiful white marble looking quartz countertop that's, $100 a square foot or whatever out there that's really nice. But 6 months to 2 years later, it's now bright smoker's tooth yellow because all the epoxy's yellowed out on it. They wonder what the
Mhm.
heck happened. And it's
I,
like,
I,
wrong product, guys. You should have done granite or
I love that
porcelain. So
smoker's tooth yellow. Yeah,
it's color.
we'll get we'll get emails about that. Trust me. Anyway,
Yeah.
we got to get out of here. Eric is going to stick around for after hours. We've been talking with Eric G from Around the House today. Lay your website on him one more time before we go.
All right. Aroundthehouseonline.com.
Very good. For Leanne and Eric, thank you for listening. Oh, by the way, we also want to thank the Oregon Crab Commission. We talked about them, but I didn't formally thank them. If you've never had Oregon or Northwest Dungeness crab, you got to try it. I love it. Leanne steals it when she's here.
Mhm.
So we'll be back next week with another edition of Barbecue Nation. Until then, remember our motto: turn it, don't burn it. Take care, everybody. Hey everybody, welcome to After Hours here on Barbecue Nation. We're talking with Eric G here, and of course that means Miss Whippen is on the other end, clear on the other side of
Mhm.
the country in Tampa. You are in Tampa today, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. How's the cats, by the way?
They are fine. They're in the bedroom as usual when I'm on the show, so they don't bug me.
There you go. I'm in Portland. Eric's in Lake Oswego. And so welcome. This is the time where we get a few irrelevant and irreverent questions. And so I think Eric's probably prepared for that. Let me grab my list of questions here.
I should have brought some more questions for you. I wanted to ask you about your OnlyFans barbecue page.
Well, it's hot. Just got to be careful of your tongs
Mhm.
because nothing's worse than getting the end of your tongs burnt.
Yeah.
You
I thought it
know,
was called Only the Q or something like that.
only the Q. No, I think that's Meathead's deal.
Okay, sorry.
Not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. By the way, Meathead's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks, and he's got a big announcement. So we're going to let him make the announcement. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's pretty cool what they've done. Anyway, we're talking with Eric G here from Around the House, and here's our lightning round questions. Because Eric, you haven't been asked these for a while, so
No.
we'll get this going. First question: have you ever eaten haggis?
Not that I know of.
You're
Good.
lucky. Yeah, that makes three of us. I've seen it. I just couldn't, like my hand, I couldn't get it to do that. I had
Yeah,
this
no.
mental paralysis, and oh no, fat boy, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Besides Leanne and myself, if you could work with one of your barbecue heroes, who would it be?
I'd probably go Michael Simon.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
And he'd be entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
would be fun. That's part of it, right? Somebody cooked great, awesome, but I've been to his place in Vegas before. It was solid barbecue, and seems like he'd be a blast.
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of an experience, right?
Yeah, he's a fun guy. He is a fun guy, and he plays golf. Remember that, Leanne? He plays golf, and he also speaks in the way Eric and I speak sometimes. And I've heard you speak that way too, Leanne. So that's okay. He's done that. Okay. What's the funkiest thing you saw at the hardware show that you just went, no, that's not going to do it?
Oh, yeah, there was an invention that I went, nah, it was a tube that hooked up to your toilet that went into this thing about the size of a 5-gallon bucket. That was a charcoal filter that was an air filter for your bathroom. And it was the clunkiest. It literally looked like somebody's white bucket in a tube. It was a smell eraser for your bathroom. And I went,
no,
not a chance. Not a chance. That was probably the worst one that I saw.
Did it look like one of those homemade air conditioners that always hits YouTube every summer when it's about 100 degrees and they say, go buy a block of dry ice,
Yep.
get a little 8-volt fan, cut
Yep.
a hole in the top of it, one of those things?
Pretty much. This was not much more refined than that. So it was a corrugated hose that came up underneath the toilet seat and kind of, I walked by and went, not a chance.
Just the visual of that is not good.
No, I mean, I hate to say, what are the message you're giving to your guests when they walk in going, you need that in this house? I mean,
right.
we're not bath fans, use it.
Yeah. Well, it's a sensitive subject except for the Charmin bears at night, I guess, on TV, but like that. Eric, if you could cook for a historical figure, who would it be? And what would you cook for them?
That's a good one. Historical figure.
Yeah, they can be dead. We'll dig them
well,
up.
that's the fun part. I think I would have to go. I'd have to go Abraham Lincoln, and the guy looks like he needed to have a steak. He was too thin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, probably 2 steaks. I got a feeling when the guy finally sat down to eat, he could probably eat a lot.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I mean, he's a big dude, but needed some meat on the bone, shall we say?
Yeah. What was the one thing at the show, at the hardware show? It doesn't have to be with barbecue or anything, but what was the one thing that you said, that's it? That's, it was like the best, absolute best, hottest thing you saw.
It was something super low budget. And actually, no, I'm going to change that. There's 2 things. The one I think was the best was this vise. And it's this IQ vise. And you think of the vise that goes on your workbench, but this thing would completely rotate around. So you could literally put a bike on it and spin the bike around in a circle. So it had all these different jaws, and it was a couple $100, but you literally could put anything on it. I could work on a guitar, a piece of pipe, a chainsaw, a mountain bike, or a motorcycle off of it. It would handle. So it was really innovative I'm like, I like it when somebody takes something that hasn't changed for 200 years and went, all right, we're going to reimagine this thing and make it super cool. And that was cool. The other one I had, if I was going to do a runner up on that, was this little $59 tool that on one side had a broom. The other side, and this is called the Aero Broom, has a little leaf blower that's USB chargeable. That's a 2-speed. So if you wanted to blow out around the outdoor kitchen or even the dog hair into the fridge, it's not like you're getting your big leaf blower out and making a huge mess, but it's just enough to be able to move the dog hair, the ashes that are coming down around the backside of the barbecue, and clean it up without making a mess. And it weighs 2 pounds, and you just plug it into a USB-C charger. So
I like that.
For $59, that was a killer deal.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. So that was trick.
if you could erase one mistake from your past, what would it be? I didn't say who. I said, what would it be and why?
I'm gonna have to put an ex-wife on that one.
That's why I said, no,
Not saying names.
no say names.
Search my name on Rolling Stone magazine. You'll find out who I'm talking.
Yeah, I know. I know. What would it be though?
No, boy. I think back in the day, it was starting my own business too early, actually up in Seattle with the wrong business partner. But I think that's what that would be, trying to grow that business too fast with the wrong people.
Yep. That does it. So what does a fantasy day for Eric G look like? And what do you do for activities?
That would be a day with no radio or TV to start with. So I'm
Yeah.
not doing my media stuff, which is pretty rare. It's going to be chilling out. It's going to be day drinking. It's going to be having a good time, barbecuing, sitting outside, 75 degrees, and having friends over, listen to music. Just pretty simple.
That's
I
great.
like that. I like that. Leanne,
Firing up the
you're a
pizza
day
oven.
drinker, aren't you?
No.
I can't be drinking all day. Start in the morning.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
never have been.
Well, if you just don't quit, I knew guys in my career that just never stopped. So it didn't matter if it was morning or night. They were doing,
I'm not
like
talking
that.
a lot of drinking, but it's nice having that mimosa in the morning while you're having breakfast and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I'm almost hesitant to ask you this, but if we put your skills to music, what would the music be?
Oh, that's
No Steel Panther.
Well, actually, here's a little inside secret that most people don't know. Half of the music in my show are bands that I actually played in and that I helped to write.
Oh,
So if you hear songs
knew
on
that.
there, so it's rock, hard rock,
yeah.
that's what it is. So
Yeah.
it's my Seattle music band days. But yeah, probably almost half the stuff in there are off of albums that I played on.
That's cool.
The only song I ever wrote was 2 fried eggs and a broken heart for breakfast. I wrote the lyrics to that song. It never got recorded by anybody, but yeah. Would you describe yourself as corn-fed or grass-fed?
Oh, I'm corn-fed.
Not a boy. Not a boy. If you
In high
were
school, I was grass-fed, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I know. Grass-fed and Cheerios. If you were an animal, what animal would you be?
I'm more honey badger.
Okay. All right. What's the biggest mistake you think people make when they're trying to build their own version of an outdoor kitchen?
Not enough research on the materials they're using. They didn't plan out from start to finish where they want it to be. Maybe they take step one and I'm going to do this, but they didn't really think of all the things that are going there.
Right.
So the planning gets missed. They go, I wanted to put water in or I wanted to put electrical in, but I already got it sealed up. So it's one of those things that planning always seems to get missed.
I learned something a long time ago. A guy told me, you remember the Peter principle? Where somebody in business would rise to one level above their competency. I learned the 6P principle. You know what that is?
What is that?
Is proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
There you go.
That's the 6P principle.
Yep.
Absolutely like that. A couple last things and we'll get out of here. What's one thing you miss about your 20s?
The able to recover after a long night.
No. Yeah. Oh, shit. Jesus.
Trade shows now, great example. Last week, my only rule in Vegas is back to the hotel by midnight.
Yep.
Because nothing ever happens good after midnight. And 2, you pay for it twice the next day.
Well, it's
not worth it.
Odds-on favorite, so to speak.
Yep.
Last one here, buddy. What would your last meal be on death row?
Dry aged ribeye, like 96 ounces, as big as I could get it.
We give you one of those.
You're just
Right.
trying to prolong your life because it would take you a couple days to get through it.
Yeah.
You're thinking like I am.
Eric G
Not done
from Eric G from Around the House. Thanks for the insight from the barbecue and the hardware show and
Yeah, for
features the
sure. That was
barbecue.
great.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
It's all
was
good.
fun.
Hit them with your website one more time. Where can they listen to your show?
All right. So any podcast player out there. So I think we're on almost 30 of them. So just look for Around the House show. Website is Around the House online. And then you can find so much of my social media, YouTube out there as well. But really, if you just go over to Around the House online, you'll find all my social channels over there. You'll find the YouTube stuff. It's all on the page.
Cool.
Perfect. Thank you.
Eric Goranson from Around the House. Leanne Whippen, Barbecue Hall of Famer.
Beater of Bobby Flay.
Mhm.
A slayer of Flair.
Yeah.
Flair's Slayer. I'll come up with something, believe me.
There we go.
We'll do that. And then there's just little old me, microphone guy here. Anyway, we will be back next week with another edition of After Hours. We thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. And we look forward to doing it again. Until then, remember our motto: turn it, don't burn it. Go out, have some barbecue, have some fun, take care, everybody. And most of all, be kind. See ya.